Lord President of the Council is really the chairman of the King's Privy Council. It used to be the executive for the King, and it still does a lot of business, and it's an important part of our constitution and the authority that we have in Parliament. And so on the day I am representing the King's authority, and I'm going to be doing a number of things. But one of them will be carrying the Sword of State, which is the heaviest sword. So I've been doing some press-ups to train for that. But that represents his authority.
And normally that sits in the Tower of London. It's part of the sort of the set of the Crown Jewels.
It does, and it was one of two swords that were made for Charles II. Only one survives, and that's the Sword of State we have today.
And how do you carry it?
So it has to be carried at right angles to the body, hence the need to do press-ups.
So
it's pointing upwards.
You're holding it out in front of you?
Holding out in front of you,
yeah.
For some time.
Do you get to practice with the real thing, or are you using sort of baked bean tins? How are you preparing?
So we get to practice with some replicas, which are weighted the same as the...
How long are you holding it for?
Some time, yes. But it's a huge honour to do it.
And so take us through where you'll be. At what point do you join the procession? Is it outside Westminster Abbey?
So I will join the procession when the King arrives at the Abbey, and we're doing rehearsals at the moment. Yeah. And there's two very fascinating things about rehearsing. The first is you learn a lot about why things are done.
Yeah.
And the commentators on the day will be earning their money explaining, because it's a very complicated ceremony, but things are done in a particular way for very good reasons. But the other thing is we have to time it perfectly, because parts of the coronation service need to take place within particular pieces of music, and so it's a huge choreography going on. And
you've obviously been in the Navy, so you know a bit about that. Is that coming in handy?
It is, especially standing for long periods of time, not fainting.
That's very important. But that's not the only. You've got two swords to grapple with.
Yes. So the other sword, which is going to be carried in by a young petty officer, and she's carrying it in, is the jewelled sword of offering, which is part of the King's regalia. So he's given these things as he's preparing to be crowned, and one of those things is the jewelled sword, which I will hand to the King.
And so let's talk about some of the other items that are laid out behind us. In particular, behind you there's a uniform. That's the Privy Council uniform.
Yes.
Are you going to be wearing that to the coronation?
I am not, but I don't think it was appropriate for the modern sense. But I'm taking my lead from it. So this motif here is on the court dress of the Privy, which is what my predecessor.
So it's a sort of dark. Is it black sort of tailcoat?
Tailcoat,
but with gold braiding on the cuffs and collar.
And what my predecessor would have worn would be the old court dress, which the whole of the front of the dress, the tunic is embroidered with that heavy gold.
Have you had something made?
So I have had something made, and it will be modern. It will definitely be made for a woman, but it
which
will
I imagine
also,
most of these words.
It will but it will also be lifting the embroidery of the Privy Council, and I've had a great bunch of people helping me get something that's going to work, hopefully, for the day.
Fantastic.